What's up, everyone? Showdown breakdown time. We got a good one tonight. Chargers at San Francisco, 45.5 point total. San Francisco home, 7.5 point favorites. We're going to break it down. DraftKings, FanDuel, all that good stuff. Let's do this. All right, I'm rolling solo for the Showdown breakdown here tonight. 49ers at the 49ers home taking on the Chargers. Again, we got an elite defense with the 49ers. Chargers playing a little bit not that good lately, so going to be interesting to see how this one goes down. And we finally get Christian McCaffrey on a team, kicking ass, taking names, doing his thing in a showdown. Oh my God, stands out as the best play on the slate. Let's take a look at the overall San Francisco offense here. We'll try to figure out if we can get any gleanings here. So last week, obviously, Christian McCaffrey handled pretty much all of the work for San Francisco at the running back position. It's interesting because the return of Elijah Mitchell is this week. He's off IR. He's going to probably be active, and he's stone min on DraftKings. Very, very interested in Eli Mitchell as the backup running back, but Christian McCaffrey should smash in this spot. It's a dream spot. You could not script it better. As a matter of fact, it's such a good spot that actually Eli Mitchell might score a touchdown too. That's how good it is. The Chargers are the worst defense in the league, or one of the worst against the run outside of just Houston. Take a look at our matchup sheet here, which shows the Chargers allowing 8.25 points above expectation to opposing running backs. Again, it's only better slightly than Houston and doubly as bad as kind of the next worst group of teams. So the Chargers are completely awful against running backs, and that's how San Francisco is going to dominate them in this game. What that means for us is, going back to my matchups again, that we might even see a little bit of Eli Mitchell in there kind of getting those backup touches, but Christian McCaffrey stands out as the absolute stone cold lead pipe. Lock button, best play on the slate. Don't overthink it. Better than the quarterbacks, better than everything else. So he is the top dog. I think that badness against the run actually hurts the pass catchers, and definitely Jimmy G and the pass catchers, like especially Ayuk and Juwan Jennings. There's just not that much reason to throw a ton when you play against the Chargers, unless the Chargers are really putting up a fight. So again, look for San Francisco to lean on the run. As far as the snap counts and whatnot, it looks like, Brandon Ayuk is kind of that top dog with Deebo Samuel. Obviously mixing in as the WR1 here and occasionally getting a carry, just worked in as a Swiss Army knife. Always interested in Deebo, but again, I think Christian McCaffrey is going to suck up a lot of the fantasy production in this spot. Target percentage, I guess Deebo hasn't played for a few weeks, so we've seen a little bit of Ray McLeod in there and some other names that have been filling in at wide receiver over the last few weeks for the 49ers. But with Deebo back full time, I expect it to be Deebo, Ayuk, and then occasionally mixing in Juwan Jennings as the WR3. Juwan Jennings priced down as well, and he is a DraftKings like punt value play. George Kittle usually does his best when the 49ers are behind and they need to throw, or when Deebo Samuel is out. Because he's back, I don't really love Kittle in this spot all that much. I mean, he's playable, it's okay, but I definitely don't love him in this spot. So from the 49ers side, and I'm probably going to full fade Jimmy G. So from the 49ers side for me, it's obviously Christian McCaffrey, and then, Elijah Mitchell, like I said, as crazy as that seems, stone min on DraftKings, and just kind of mixing in some of the other names. So let's shift over to the Chargers, where Khalil Herbert kind of having a mediocre to almost bad, I would say, season so far this year. He's dealt with some injuries, but he's also just kind of not been that good. I don't have any other way to really describe it. Only he's not been that good this year, and maybe we overestimated him, or maybe the weapons, the injuries, I don't know. But he hasn't been that good. Let's take a look at the rest of this Chargers team. So Austin Eckler, stud. Very interestingly, Isaiah Spiller has supplanted Sony Michel as the backup to Eckler, as you could see last week by the snap count, but more importantly, the rush percentage. So Sony Michel really only got a couple carries. The carries went to Isaiah Spizzles. But obviously, Austin Eckler is the top guy. Isaiah Spiller, we have to keep him in mind, though. We'll see what the salary looks like for him because he'll be that backup. Obviously, the 49ers have a good defense, so it's not super likely like the backup running back is going to go crazy for the Chargers, but we have to keep it in mind. With both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen out, we're going to get another Palmer, DeAndre Carter duo with Michael Bandy as the WR3. And you know what? These guys are interesting and necessary this week. We need to be able to afford to pay up for Christian McCaffrey captains or Austin Eckler captains in those situations, or playing those two in the flex with a different captain. So we're going to need these cheapies, these sort of cheapies to make it work. Similar with Gerald Everett. I fully expect the Chargers to be chasing in this game. It's hard to run up the gut against the 49ers. They're going to have to throw it. And, mix in Gerald Everett at tight end as well. He's been really, really good with all the injuries for the pass catchers. So we do have a bunch of salary saving options between Palmer, Carter, and Bandy, with Palmer being the best of them. And it's interesting, Bandy got more targets than DeAndre Carter last week. Do with that what you will. Gerald Everett in the mix as well. So I like all of that. We don't really need to get too turdly on this one because Bandy and Carter are kind of turdly on their own. Now, let's go to the cheat sheet and take a look at some potential captain options for the slate over on DraftKings. Then we'll go and we'll make some lineups and whatnot. Actually, what I want to do real quick is just get a look over again at our matchup sheet because I did not look at the San Francisco defense with you guys, and I want to kind of show you what that looks like. So, yeah, you can see it here. So San Francisco is holding opposing QBs to 3.5 points below average expectation, running backs to 4.7 points below. So they are dominating running backs, quarterbacks, wide receiver a little below at 1.23. So again, we want to attack them with the wide receiver position, and they are also decent to good against tight ends. So San Francisco defense, again, a lot of green here. That means they're good. And on the Charger side, they're not very good on defense, but especially against running backs. So let us keep that in mind as we go through our cheat sheet here. And of course, Christian McCaffrey, the top dog, top play on the slate. No question about it. He's throwing for touchdowns. He's passing for touchdowns. He's doing everything. I don't think that Eli Mitchell's return hurts him at all. But I do think that Eli Mitchell is an interesting super punt for Stone Min salary. So keep him in mind. He might be the best of them, although I want to see some of these other salaries before I make that call. Austin Eckler's been really good this season. If I had to choose between McCaffrey and Eckler, it's McCaffrey all the way. I might just lock in McCaffrey in all my lineups, or do like 90% and then 10% Eli Mitchell without McCaffrey, just for that early injury, or 5% for that early injury possibility. McCaffrey's been hurt, and guys get hurt in these games, and we're trying to win $1 million. So there is definitely merit to making a few Eli Mitchell lineups on a McCaffrey gets hurt in the first quarter kind of like concept, or even in the first half concept. It's only going to take a few fantasy points really for Mitchell to come through. I know I'm talking about Mitchell a lot, maybe too much, but keeping it real, bro. Keeping it real. So Eckler is a decent alternative captain. Obviously, McCaffrey a little better, but Eckler has all the upside in the world. He can get there. It's not the best matchup, but he can absolutely get there. I'm going to leave Herbert and Garoppolo out of my captain pool, and I'm probably not going to mess with Debo too much there as well. I think Debo has a little bit of appeal. I'm kind of seeing that ownership, though. I'm not seeing any ownership, so I don't know. I don't have ownership on this one yet. That doesn't really matter. The point is with Debo that if he's going to be even mildly high owned, I like the price point at 8,800, but if he's going to be mildly high owned, he's a less good play. If I'm going to wide receivers, I kind of want to go to cheaper pass catchers like Palmer or some of the others there. So Again, I think it's McCaffrey as your top dog, Eckler as the backup for captain, and then we can mess with Palmer, even Carter, Bandy, some of these cheapies to see if we could just make an exciting lineup that fits a lot of studs in there by going cheap. But I don't think any of these guys are outscoring McCaffrey, or I think they're super unlikely to outscore McCaffrey or Eckler, whichever one does best of the group. I don't mind Herbert and Garoppolo in the flex, but I will avoid those pocket passers in captain on DraftKings. Doesn't really work well on DraftKings with these pocket passers, and definitely not Garoppolo. Blah. Right? Going through the flex positions, of course, we want to play some of these studs. So how are we going to afford it? Well, let's take a look at some of these sort of salary saver options and see which ones kind of stand out a little bit here. And Gerald Everett, again, priced up a little bit here at the tight end position, 6,200. A little bit much. DeAndre Carter, after a couple of big games, 5,400. I think that's workable. I don't mind 49ers defense. Michelle, I'm off because Spiller has kind of replaced his role. Both kickers are fine. Cameron Dicker is in the player pool at this point. Robbie Gould has actually been a very good kicker. And so there we go. Oh, there's some ownerships. That was weird. So still no ownerships, right? No. Michael Bandy, 2,400, right? That WR3 got more targets last week than Carter did. He's definitely in play here. He's your third on team in targets last week. Heavy usage with no one else. Tough matchup, obviously. And then we have the turd zone. Jawan Jennings is the one, other player besides Eli Mitchell in this sub sort of 3K category that raises the eyebrow. He will be on the field. He's going to be that WR3 for San Francisco, and he'll get snaps at 600. It does not take much. You just need a little bit. And you guys are going to see when we make a lineup, you need one of these. You need like a really cheap guy in your lineup to make it work. Eli Mitchell, very, very interesting. As long as he plays some backup snaps and gets any kind of touches, it will take very little for him to get there. He does not need to score a touchdown, but he's probably not going to receive. He's not going to catch passes. So we got to be careful with him. So let's see what happens if we start with McCaffrey and then we go with Mitchell as our salary saver here in this first lineup. And we'll kind of see how it comes together from there. So McCaffrey, Eli Mitchell, I certainly don't mind. I always like the kicker, especially the home favorite kicker. That's a good spot. Isaiah Spiller backing up. Eckler is always going to be interesting for me, but 9,400 left on the board. Palmer, Everett, Lance, probably going to get to one of these guys. 9,400, we can, use Ayuk, a Herbert. I kind of want to put Eckler in there. Again, I don't love the spot for Eckler. I like it. It's fine, but he's been so good. I'm not sure how much it matters if it's a good spot. So let's see what happens when we put in Eckler there. And then for the most part, you can kind of do whatever you want here. Get Palmer, get Debo going. I would rather, do I love it? No, but I think this is a very doable lineup. The other possibility here without Eli Mitchell is to go a little more balanced. So without playing a super turd, we can kind of either put Dicker in this last spot. We can go Isaiah Spiller or even Bandy right there. And then I'm very comfortable with this sort of approach. Get Palmer, something like that. So it's funny that I have so many Chargers. And primarily it's because I think that the San Francisco offense is going to be so concentrated on Christian McCaffrey at this point. Again, you never know when Ayuk pops off. Those are more GPP only, but you could feel really confident generally that they're going to try. I mean, it's just Chargers are so bad against the run. It just does not make sense for them to do anything other than lean heavy on the run. And again, maybe Mitchell breaks one off or something crazy like that. So let's keep all of that in mind as we build lineups for this slate. Let's take a quick look at FanDuel's actually maybe a little, almost a little more dynamic here, just because you kind of have to play the quarterbacks a little bit, at least a little bit of Herbert as an MVP. So let's take a look at potential MVPs on FanDuel. And of course, we've got Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler again as the top two choices, and I think they're very obvious. I don't think we need to get too crazy on FanDuel beyond QBs and these two running backs. Again, I'm significantly favoring McCaffrey over Eckler. I would not be at 4.5 for both. I genuinely favor McCaffrey over Eckler in this spot. Again, Eckler's great. He's the man, but this is McCaffrey's. He's just better. He's on a better team in a better matchup, and it's just that simple. His matchup is better. He's up against the worst run defense in the league, where the other guy's up against the best rush defense. Again, matchups don't mean shit half the time, but if we're looking at them, yeah, it should be a lot more McCaffrey than Eckler. Beyond that, of course, we could look at the quarterbacks. Garoppolo, kind of GPP only for me. Herbert, definitely in play as a captaincy. If you're playing Herbert, you could throw it to Eckler, so I wouldn't really mess with too many stacks. I'm going to stack with any quarterback with at least one. Jimmy G probably needs to be stacked with two people who can catch a touchdown. But one of those people is Christian McCaffrey, so, do with that what you will. Couple of sort of turd plays here or less likely plays. Kittle and Samuel, I don't really love either of them, but as MVPs on FanDuel. But, Debo can do it. Debo's got that upside when they need him to have it. Just they're not going to run Debo very much with Eli and McCaffrey there, so he's going to have to do it via the pass. And the 49ers are not likely to pass enough times in this game to really, again, if we're looking at the most likely scenario, it shouldn't be Debo here. So how do we make a lineup work on FanDuel? Let's say I want to play this. And again, this is a decision you got to make between Eckler and Herbert. I feel like one of them, I can't on the FanDuel scoring format, I probably would favor Herbert. Let's go to the cheat sheet a little bit more and see what we've got for the rest of this. So yeah, some other plays potentially. Palmer here at 10.5 is okay. Kittle at 1,000 is all right. Very playable. Josh definitely likes him a lot. Give him 4 stars. I probably wouldn't go that high, but Kittle a good option. There's just too many people back with Debo back. No, I'm not down with it. I don't really see Kittle like as an MVP captain. But I don't mind him at 10K. He can catch a touchdown there. Certainly a lot of ways for him to make value. Gerald Everett, 9K, definitely somebody I'm interested in there. I like the tight end to potentially get a touchdown in a game like this. We got Dicker and Gould in 9K or at the cheaper price points, and that's always good. And if we're looking to save money on FanDuel, again, there's a few ways to go. We can go back to Eli Mitchell, but he will absolutely need a touchdown in this format, so be aware. Isaiah Spiller has a chance to get a touchdown here. Again, I don't mind Michael Bandy, so there's a few cheapies to go with, but my preference is probably not to delve into this zone all that much, but rather try to make it happen, in the 9K and above range. So just like, if I need to save some money, play a kicker, play an Everett type of player. Let's see if there's anybody like Dicker is fine. Dicker. Why is that funny? It's fucking funny as hell. 49ers defense is playable as well here. So, or George Kittle. All right, lineup like this. Here, there's your George Kittle. There's your George Kittle lineup with Everett in it. The other way to go would be, again, with Dicker. Well, let me leave the Everett one. Let's make this one, right? So I'm going to do that. And then there's another version we can make with, instead of going Kittle, Everett, kind of start with that same baseline and do a little something different like Dicker. I don't love double kicker all the time, but Dicker Palmer, something like that can work. So there's a few different ways to go on FanDuel as well this week. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up right there. Good luck. Showdown. Sunday Night Football. Hope you all are crushing the main slate. Good luck, everyone.